Of coffee today.
And you are evaluating compositions. In pre-calculus class, we are using compositions of functions at a completely different level this week. So you're going to see this topic somewhere down the line. Depending on how many more math classes you take, you'll see it again and then maybe again and then maybe again. And every time you see it, it seems like it kind of buffs itself a little bit in difficulty. All we're doing today is math, just for the record, okay? So there's going to be nothing upper levely about this. Once you can see it with clarity, you'll realize that it's just math, not even like fancy math. It's just math. So before we can evaluate compositions, I have to do a quick review with you and make sure that you remember what it means to evaluate a function. So here's a function. His name is f of x. His name is f. He's a function of x. And let's just say he is like 5x minus 13. I'm making all new examples too. I'm just whipping these all up off the top of my brain because the lesson earlier I thought was to be put out with the bathwater. So I'm just starting all over from scratch here. So if I gave you a function like that, what I want from you throughout the day is to understand what a function does, how it behaves. This function looks at you and he says, "Hi, my name is F." And what he does is described in the box. Functions have a purpose. This function's purpose is to take whatever you feed him where that arrow is pointing right there. That's his feeding slot. And when I give him a number, what's he going to do to my number?
He's gonna multiply it.
He's going to multiply it by 5 because that's what the rule says in the box. And after he's done multiplying my food by 5, what's he going to do to the answer? He's going to subtract 13. So what you see in the white box is a literal set of directions. A function rule is just a set of directions. My function named f, that's his name, says whatever you give me, I'll multiply it by 5, and then I'll take that answer and I'll subtract 13, and then I will spit you out an answer. So for example, if I said to you, what is f of 10? The language is the barrier here. Like, I'm not asking you to do hard math. It's just hard to get used to this, all these stupid symbols and stuff. So if you put 10 in there, what is 5 times 10? And what is 50 minus 13? 37. So we would say the quote unquote answer to this problem is 37. Do you have any issues with that? That's just evaluating a function. Let's go again. Because all we're doing today is this, but we have to do it twice at each problem. So I hope I'm able to get that across to you. Let's do another function. What do you want his name to be? G, that's fine. And what do you want his variable to be? He doesn't have to be X. G of Y is fine with me. So this is a function. He says, "Hi, my name is G, and I need you to feed me Y's. Whatever you feed me, here's what I'll do." What do you guys want my function to do?
Something.
Something like last time I just made one up. I said I wanted him to multiply by 5 and take away 13. How about, do you guys care if he squares it? Is that okay? And then how about we like take away double it? And then let's add some. How much you want to add at the end?
7.
7 is fine. I heard that first. Yeah, I mean, we could add 6, 7, whatever. Sorry. I'm not sorry. So right now we have a function up here on the board. And I should have done this earlier in the lesson, second hour today, that I want you to understand that, someone asked, like, where did you get that from? And I'm like, man, I'm just making this up as I go. You guys help me with this. The function's name is G. He likes to eat Y's for dinner. And when he's processing his food, whatever food I give him, he squares it and then he multiplies it by 2. And then he subtracts those answers and adds 7. Then he spits out an answer. That's all functions are, is little pre-programmed machines that do math calculations. So let's find G of, I don't know, -3. You down?
Mhm.
All right, let's do it. So here's what the function looks like while it's in its stage of feeding. It does blank squared minus 2 times blank plus 7. So that's the function basically opening itself up and saying those parentheses are where like the baby birds are sitting there with their little beaks, and the mama comes and drops a worm. That's kind of what we're doing right now is we're just going to drop food in where those variables used to be. And what are we going to put in those blanks? -3, because -3 is the number that we've elected to feed. And again, someone said earlier, where'd you get that? And I'm like, I just made it up, dude. Just right out of thin air. So -3 is going to pop in here and pop in here. That's how a function works. It says, feed me and I'll give you some results. You feed me, I give you answer, which is over and over and over and over again. But the math now is inescapable. We have done literally no math yet at all. We've just been doing a process. Now we have to math. First, let's start with the yellow egg thing. What is the answer to the yellow egg? It is +9. What is the answer to the green box? +6. So this function, when it's done processing or digesting the food that I gave it, is going to give me back 22 because 9 plus 6 is 15 and 15 plus 7 is 22. So the answer to this math problem is 22. If you're lost now, the rest of this can't go well. But if you understand that, then we can press on. Are we okay? So that's not what we're doing today. You learned how to do this a couple weeks ago. I taught you this before I was going to be gone when I was dealing with house stuff, you might remember. And this was part of that big jumbo, like 600 problems worth of Delta math. There were a whole bunch of these in there. So what we're going to do today are called compositions. And so functions can actually compose with each other. For example, here's a function named f of x. And let's keep him nice and simple. Like he's just going to take your food and add 4. If I give him a 5, he boop, spits me out a 9. If I give him a -1, boop, he spits me out a 3. Whatever I give him, he adds 4 and gives it back. And then let's have another function named g of x. And again, we'll keep him nice and simple. He'll be like 2x minus 11. So here goes where we are swimming along, and suddenly it goes from being like a 4-foot pool to like a 38-foot deep section of a lake. Are you ready? So this is the math problem that I'm going to ask of you. We together are going to do f of something. But we're going to do f of g of 2. This is called a composition. And again, we teach this to you. Don't let it already get you down, because otherwise you'll spend the next 10 minutes believing that you're already lost. Just drink it in. Compositions will get more and more complex. Why we teach this in Algebra 1, I'm actually not, I got to be honest with you, I'm not really too sure. I know it's in the standards, and I think there's a lot of things like that where I just, I take the orders from up here and I say, okay, I do solemnly swear to teach these kids this, like a list of 85 things, and this is one of them. So here it goes. To do a composition like this, and I'm going to color code. My heart goes out to you because I know that your paper that I'm going to give you doesn't come at you in white and red, but I'm doing these colors and I'm going to be super consistent this time so I don't mess this up. I want you to understand first off how we say this is f of g of 2. Now, the red problem, you would agree, I hope you agree, based on what you and I just talked about a few minutes ago, you should all know how to do the red problem based on our warm-up today. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the red problem and get an answer. And then when we get an answer, we're going to plug the answer right back into this space right here. And then we're going to do the next problem. So like if the answer to g of 2, I'm just making this up, comes out to be like 10, then we'll put 10 in here and our next problem will be to do f of 10. If the answer to g of 2 comes out to be like -16, then I'll put -16 in here and we'll do f of -16. The way this works is we're feeding the function, one of the functions first, and then what he vomits out as an answer is what we scoop up and feed into the next function as its food, which is very disgusting. I shouldn't have said that, by the way, but you get the idea, right? So having said that, let me hit the back arrow a bunch of times. And this is how I think you would show it on your paper since you don't have the colored pens perhaps like I do. We all together are going to do the inside math problem first. Together, we're going to do G of 2. Now you might ask the question, well, that's all fine and good, Mr. Fancy Pants, but how do I know where to feed the number 2? 2 is obviously the food, right?
Yeah.
Where do I feed it? Do I feed it in the function on the left or the function on the right? Why the second one? Because its name is G, and I'm quadruple underlining it for you. That second function waves at you. It says, "Hi, my name is G. If you need anything G of whatever, I'm your man." And since we're being asked to find G of 2, we're going to put 2 into the yellow box. If it had said F, then I would put it into the function whose name is F.
Um,
Now help me with my math. I struggle with numbers. If I put 2 right into that yellow box where it says X, what is 2 times 2? What is 4 minus 11? The answer is -7. Now that is only half the answer because the output becomes the input. Yes. So up here, watch the magic pen where it used to say G to 2. I'm like, wait a second. I can do one better. I know the answer to G of 2. It's -7. And then the problem starts over. Now I start doing F of something. So -7 is now my food. And then I look over here and I say, G, your services are no longer needed. All that's left for me to figure out is what's F of -7. So I'm going to take -7 and plug it right in there. What is -7 plus 4? So the answer to the problem, overall done, completed, is -3. You don't have to flash numbers at me, but if you do, I will look at them. What I'm mostly curious about is improvement. So somewhere between a 1 and a 10. And it's okay if you don't want to hold up your fingers, but are you at a 5? A 1, solid 1. A 1 is I have no idea what in the hell just happened, right? So 5s are like I'm in the middle. It kind of made sense. A 9, holy crap. Jay Kirk, you're at like, was that a 2 or a 3? 5. What we want to look at here is, okay, we want to get those numbers to go up. And the first example is intimidating because if you didn't crack the code that time, that had to have been one of the most miserable math experiences ever. So let's do it again. And what I'm going to do, just so you understand that I'm not pulling a fast one here, is I'm going to have you guys write the problem for me. Okay? You with me? So the first thing I want to know is I'm going to have a function over on the left and a function on the right. Leo, what do you want this first function's name to be? Like just a letter. I. Okay, so for the first function, his name is I. And what does I like to eat? Give me another letter. T. So I of t is a function named I. And he says, I eat teas. And Leo, since you're in charge of this, what do you want I's behavior to be? Like in some of my functions, I'm like this squared plus this, or sometimes I just do this plus this. What do you want this function to do? Do you want him to add, subtract, multiply, divide, square, all of the above? You pick. T plus 11. I love that you answered that question with such confidence. So Leo has laid down the law and said, I invented this function. His name is I. And what he'll do is whatever I feed him, he'll add 11 to it and then spit the answer out to you. Now I need another function. And the only part of this that is not up for debate is that it also, even that's not true. What do you want this function's name to be? Z. And let's have him also be a function of t. That'll keep us from going totally crazy today. And what do you want him to do? Uh-huh. Is that you, Peyton? Peyton? I thought you were raising a hand. Were you?
I don't separate.
Because they're feeding into each other. Because the answer to one of them becomes the input for the other. I know, right? Hang in there with me.
Okay.
What do you want my function to do? Do you care or do you want someone else to pick?
Like, fine.
Minus how much? So Peyton has said the function that Willow named called Z, Peyton wants T or Z to take whatever we give it and take away 37. Why? Because it's her prerogative and you guys are writing this problem. So you get down with your subtracting 37 bad self. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to compose them with each other. And here's a question that you can also answer. I don't want to be in charge of this at all. Do you guys want to do I of Z or Z of I?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's do Z of I of, and what do you want to feed him?
The
A number.
number?
Yeah, well, how much you want to feed him? 12. And again, I have the benefit of using colors. You don't, so you'd want to find some way to make this look like two different entities. I need you to see that there's a white problem up there on the board and a red problem. And which one are we going to do first? The red will go first. So what we're all going to do is we're all going to go off to the side. And remember, please, that I had nothing to do with writing this problem. I was very mildly, minimally involved in this process. Yes, ma'am.
Number from I and then in parentheses what?
Because I just asked, what do you guys want to feed it? And someone said 12. How did we get that?
You oh
All I'm saying is, what do you want to feed him today? Like, do you want to serve him pizza? Should we make him lasagna?
that was that
Yes.
okay.
Your one,
Just click.
your
Sorry.
one just went way up. And what I like about the way you learn math is that you're very actively involved in asking those questions. And that's how the light switches come on, is by asking those questions. So Peyton connected some good dots there. She said, okay, so I'm going to put the 12 in place of the T. Yes. The question becomes, which T should I put it in place of? Should I put it in place of the one with the yellow arrow or the green arrow?
Yellow.
The yellow, because this clearly says we're doing it in the I function. So we're going to go to the function whose name is I, and I'm going to put a yellow box around his business end, the function bool. This is where all the action happens, is in the box. The function's just sitting there like, feed me, feed me, feed me. And we're like, all right, settle down. I got some food for you right here. I'm going to put 12 right there in your little food slot. What is 12? Food plus 11. So the answer to this math problem is 23. And if that were all we were doing today, this lecture would have been over 10 minutes ago. But it's not, because as some of you have figured out now, the answer to one problem
Has to go to the other.
becomes the food
For the other.
for the second one. So since 23 was the answer, it goes back in.
Mhm.
The output becomes the input. And now we have to calculate Z of 23.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that.
And so this means now, since the function that we're working with is named Z, I'm underlining it in purple for you, we clearly want to go focus our attention on the function box that is Z. And evaluating a function is as simple as taking the letters and simply pulling them out and putting numbers, food numbers, in their place. So if I change that T with the green arrow pointing at it to 23, what is 23 minus 37? Then the answer to this problem is negative 14. Did anyone's number go up?
I just struggled writing it a little bit.
Did we go up a little bit? What's that? Nice. Did you go up? That's what I really want to know, is did anyone go from like a 1 to a 5 or a 1 to a 4 or a 5 to a 7? Right. Good. Let's do it again. Let's have a function called R of K. And then his homie is going to be, let's do like P of K. So the two functions are like, hi, we're functions. My name's R. His name's P. And what they do is they eat Ks. Got it? And do you want me to make them up or do you want to make them up? What do you want R to do? So you want him to take whatever I feed. I don't have any rooms for -4, but like you want just like an input squared, maybe? Does that work? And then you want to take away like something like 4? Sure. So the function says, hi, my name's R. Whatever you feed me as a number, I will square it. And whatever answer I get, I will take away 4, and then I'll spit your answer back out. Like, thanks. And I can't speak for my homie over there, P. And then P's like, oh, I got you. This is what I do. I multiply whatever you feed me by -3, and then I add 5 because I feel like it. So each one of these functions performs different roles. What order do you want to do your composition in? You want to do R of P or P of R? R of P is fine. Again, I'm just going with the very first one I hear. So we're going to do R of, and here I go again, switching colors, P of what? And what do you want the food to be? Jeez Louise. Can I overrule that? Never mind. It's fine. We're just going to need a calculator, but it's okay.
Hey, you have no right to hit me.
What's that?
Jen.
Do you guys want to get rid of the 0? Okay, I didn't. Oh, so let's just make it a 2. I'm down. I didn't want to be rude, but like that was going to be -55, which when you square it is going to be like over 3,000. And I thought at this point it's just annoying. So, yes.
Since the R outside, you go that first, or since he's on the side, you go that first?
You always do the red one first. Inside first. If you listen to my words, you ready? R of P of 2. Whatever one you say second, you do first. Like that. All right, you ready? It's time for a red math problem, and his name is P of 2. So I'm going to feed 2 into a function. Am I going to use yellow box or am I going to use green box? Why green? Because the function that I'm being asked to use is P, and P is over here. He's like, don't use my buddy, I'm P. Come over here. Now you're going to take 2 and put it in place of where the little red arrow is pointing. What is -3 times 2?
-6.
What is -6 plus 5? -1 is halfway point. He says, I'm the answer to the first half. You are now welcome to use me as the food for the second half. Cage just went from a 4 to like a 10, I think. And it just was like, boom. Now, to do R of -1 means I look at the function whose name is R. And he's like, I'm over here. You see me? And R behaves in a way like this. He says, you feed me, I'll square it, and then I'll take away 4. I'll square it, and I'll take away 4. Right? Put a -1 where the red or the green arrow is pointing. What is -1 squared? It cannot be a negative if you square it. It's positive. When you square a negative number, it becomes a positive number. So that is +1 minus 4. Overall answer is -3, and we are done. Yes.
How did you get a -5 plus normal 5? How did you get 1? It's multiplication. It's not multiplication. It's
-5 plus normal 5.
Which one is -5? What's wrong with that?
Do you know that this purple thing is multiplication?
yeah, 2 times -3
Is -6.
is I just it's
That'll do it. How about this? Again, please, I do need some feedback now. I know I sometimes say don't answer if you don't want to. Have we all improved our understanding? Are you still down there pretty low? Yeah? Okay. So what we're going to do is, that's a 7. That's solid, dude. I'm going to hand out the assignment. And by the way, I did this earlier, and I messed up. I copied the problem wrong, so I'm going to try to do a better job. Instead of wasting any more of your time on notes, let me spend some time with you, and we'll do a couple homework problems together. My goal is before 156 that we could finish the first 4 homework problems together. And then, of course, I won't expect you to get this done. We're gonna try to get in the super vibey zone with problems 1 through 4, get you out of here feeling like, yes, I got this, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow. Good?
Yeah.
All right then. Cool. Resuming the recording. So let's go. Problem 1. In problem 1, I have 2 functions. Their names are g. And what he does is whatever you feed him, he adds 1 and then spits an answer. And his homie's name is H. And they play with A's. Say, feed me A's. And H will take away 3. These guys are pretty boring little functions. So our task is to do g of H of 3. And if you pause a little bit, then when you say it like g of H of 3, you kind of remind yourself that H of 3 is its own math problem. And again, I'm using red to show you that that is your first problem. So we are going to go off to the side and we're going to do H of 3. So I'm going to take this and pull it out and we're going to work it out. What is H of 3? Well, I have to go into the function whose name is H. And let's put in the 3 for the food slot. What is 3 minus 3?
0.
0. So the answer is 0 to the first half. And then that becomes the food for the second half. My task now is to do g of 0, which means you put g of 0 in the yellow box, or you put 0 in the yellow box. What's 0 plus 1? Then the answer to the problem is. I don't really want to answer the question about do I have to show my work. I feel like really all I'm after right here is just can I get 61 teenagers on the same day to understand how to do this. Okay, that's the goal. What?
I just done my head.
I said I really don't want to worry about that, right? It's not the conversation I want to have with you right now. If there's going to come a day where we're going to take a test on this, at that point, I would obviously require you to show some work, right? But for today, that's not in my list of things to worry about. So
Will all JV football players head down to the locker room? All high school JV football players head down to the locker room.
So I'm not making any of this up. By the way, this is where I messed up earlier. If you're not going to watch the recording because I'm going to delete it, but there I put a 3 right there where that 5 is. That's completely on me. And those poor kids, no wonder they were lost. Having a buffoon for a teacher. So the problem says to do g of something, and the something is f of -1. So what's the name of our first math problem? What do we do first? You do the red problem first, right? So f of -1, since it's on the inside, is going to be the first thing we do. And we're going to go to the function whose name matches, f, and we're going to do the math that's inside the red box. What is -1 squared? Right here, +1. And what is +1 minus 3? So the answer to the first half is -2. That becomes the food for the second half. And since the second half calls for g of blah, 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 I go to the function whose name is g, and I plug in the new food. And you see, I'm not showing a lot of work up here either because I don't really feel like it's something I need to really do, right? Could I? Yeah. Put -2 where the purple arrow is pointing. What's 2 times -2? What's -4 plus 5? 1. I really wanted to make sure that I got to problems 3 and 4 because they might just freak you out a little bit. So To this point in the lecture, you are used to seeing two functions. You're used to seeing like an f of x and also a g of x, right? But in this problem, it's like, whoa, 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 how come there's only one function? Well, so the function is f. He eats x's, processes x's, like this. And the problem says to do f of -5.
Mhm.
But I'm not scared. Like, I understand that the inner problem is the one I do first. I patiently just do it, and it's going to give me an answer. I'm going to grab that answer and plug it back in again. And I just happen to be hitting the same function twice. I use it, get an answer, and I do it again. You can compose a function with itself. Totally legal. So here it goes. The first math problem is f of -5. So I'm going to take that over here. And I'm going to put -5 right where the cute little red arrow is pointing right there. Step 1. What is 3 times -5? And what is -15 minus 5? -20 is the answer to the first half. The answer to the first half becomes the input for the second half. And it's interesting because you're shoving a number into the function f. It works it out, cooperates, gives you an answer, and you just shove another number right back in. And you could keep doing it again and again, depending on what the problem asks for. You could do f of something, and you could just boom, 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 keep hitting that sucker again and again. So if I'm going to do f of -20, that means I have to put -20 up where the cute little red arrow is pointing. And what is 3 times -20? What's -60 minus 5? And that is the answer. That is a composition with itself. And then, of course, problem 4 is yet another self-composition because we're going to do g of 6. So here it goes. Question 4. The function that I only need one since it's composing with itself, is 2x minus 5. And the composition will be g of 6. So my first job is this guy. Whoop, pop it out. And to do g of 6 simply means to go find the cute little red arrow and change whatever it's pointing at, a variable, into the number 6. What is 2 times 6? And what is 12 minus 5? So the answer is 7. But that's only the answer to the first half. You plug that back in and repeat. And now where the cute little red arrow is pointing, you're not going to drop a 6, you're going to drop a 7. And what's 2 times 7? And what's 14 minus 5? 9. I'm going to use a big fat pen. 9. I am 9, hear me roar. Got it? Yes, that's what I was going for. That's all I have for you. The rest of your time, there are 7 minutes left of this class. Well, 6.5. I expect you to just get working on this paper. And if I need to come over there and work with you, I'd be happy to. If you want to come up and work with me, you would be welcome, of course, to do that as well. So tomorrow we will resume this activity. Unless I look over at you and I see you not working, then you will earn the right to finish this tonight. Lucky duckies. So,
So this question is very only 2 questions still make questions.
did numbers 3 and 4 make sense to you? And I wish that you all played a game called Factorio. Boy, I'm embarrassed to say, probably well over 1,000 hours on Factorio. Factorio is a game where you essentially you're on a hostile planet and you're like an engineer who got stranded because your spaceship crashed there. And what you do is you use resources to make things that you then use to make other things. And then you make other things with those things. So like you might make like little iron gears, but then you have to use those iron gears with other things to make something else. And then am I making sense? It's like anything. Factories, rarely would a factory produce everything that it needs on site. Like it's bringing in things from other factories too, correct? So having said that, look at problem 5. So what are the names of my two functions? One of them is named G. What's the other one named? Okay, so to be clear, I want you to understand that the function's names are G and H. And the parenthesis part, the of part, is what variable they process, what food they process. So this function over here says, hi, my name is G, and I work with A's. And when you give me A's to work with, I'll do what's in the white box. So if you feed it a number, what will it do to your number? And then what will it do? Then it'll add 5. So like if I gave it a 3, it'll do 4 times 3, which is 12, and then it'll add 5 and give me an answer of 17. It produces a product for me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that product that it gave me, and I'm going to use that in another factory to produce a new product. So like in this problem, it's asking me to do G of something. But I'm just taking this right off your paper, by the way, okay? This is right on your paper, number 5. It's asking me to do G of that. Again, taken right off your paper. You see it? Okay. So I keep using this color all throughout the lecture to get you to see, or to hope that eventually it sinks in, that the red math problem is the problem I want you to do first. So the first thing we're going to do is the red problem. You're going to stop me the moment I lose you. Is that correct? Promise? So I'm going to take and do H of 4 first, because that's the inside one, and it has to be dealt with so that its answer can go back where it used to be. It's like a substitute kind of thing. We're subbing him out and putting in the new guy. So how do you do H of 4? In which function? In H. And we know that the second function is the one named H, correct? So right where this arrow is pointing is where I should replace that letter with the number 4, because that's what someone asked me to do, right? So what is 2 times 4? And what is 8 plus 3? So do you agree with me that the answer to the red problem is 11? So do you agree with this statement that H of 4 equals 11? 100%? So then am I in my rights, within my rights, to write over here where it used to say H of 4, to say, well, H of 4, I happen to know what you equal. A little birdie told me a secret that you equal 11, because I got that from over here, right? Are you still with me? So now you have to do this math problem with me, guy. So what am I going to do to find G of 11? This is the problem someone wanted me to do from the beginning, but I couldn't do it until I knew the answer to the little one on the inside. So I'm going to replace this A with 11. And what is 4 times 11? What is 44 plus 5? So the answer to this math problem overall is 40. Kinda? We will work on these more tomorrow.